Hello everybody and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video we will be talking about Ted Cruz and how he might actually be vulnerable heading into the 2024 United States Senate elections. So of course in 2024 we have many key races in the Senate elections around the country. In Montana and Ohio, two very Republican states, we have Democratic incumbents fighting for re-election, and in quite a few states, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, we have Democratic incumbents in fairly blue states that are trying to win back their seats. And then we have West Virginia, where we have or Arizona and West Virginia, two states where the incumbent is retiring, most likely. Arizona is a little different, but at least in West Virginia, an incumbent is retiring, and he's a Democrat, Joe Manchin, so it's sure to flip to the Republicans. Then you've got two states that are thought to be fairly competitive, at least in presidential elections and statewide races, and that's Texas and Florida. In Florida, we have the incumbent Rick Scott running for re-election. And then in Texas, of course, we have Ted Cruz, who is running for re-election. Now, Texas is not, it is new to being it is new to be considered a swing state. I don't know if I said that right. But it was never a swing state before, right? Texas has always been a very traditionally conservative, heavily Republican state. I mean, John McCain, Mitt Romney won it by so many percentage points in 2008, 2012. Then you get to Trump, and Hillary Clinton, despite her stunning loss nationwide, she was able to narrow it down to a 7 or 8 point win for Trump. And then you head to the 2018 Senate election, where Ted Cruz is running for another term, and he wins by just 3%. And now, at this time, we're saying, wow, Texas is now a swing state. In just about 4 or 5 or 6 years, it has gone from a safe Republican state, we're talking 20 plus percentage points, to a race where the incumbent senator wins against Beto O'Rourke, just a representative, by 3%. So we are now in today, where Ted Cruz is now running for a third term in the Senate, and he might actually be in trouble. No one really thought that he was in trouble in 2018, at least in the beginning, until it really got down to Election Day, and polls were predicting that it would be a very close race. But now we are now coming into a position in 2024 where we know how close it was in 2018. We know how it only went to Trump by 5% in 2020, and we are now heading into this Senate race with an outlook on it that it is a swing race, that this can go either way. So Ted Cruz is a very unpopular guy, right? If you look at the 2020 Senate election, I don't have it up here, but John Cornyn, the other senator who's a Republican, won by a pretty good margin. It wasn't even that close, not 3%. But Ted Cruz is a very unlikable, very hated politician that even a lot of Republicans dislike. So he can be beaten, and that's why Beto was almost able to beat him in 2018. So this time around, we have Ted Cruz obviously running for re-election, and then we have one main Democratic challenger. We have quite a few Democratic candidates, but it's most likely going to be Colin Alred. He is a U.S. representative, just like Beto O'Rourke, from the 32nd Congressional District, a safe Democratic district, whatever. And, I mean, his next closest competitor is Roland Gutierrez, who has gotten a lot of support on social media, but mostly from, people who are interested in politics in other states, not necessarily Texas. But when you look at his fundraising numbers, just $632,000 to Alred's $13.5 million, and his polling, the most recent poll December 2023 had him at just 7% to Alred's 28%, but other ones had him at 10 to 21, 22 to 33. So it's almost certain that Colin Alred is going to be the Democratic nominee for Senate here, and he will be the one facing off against Ted Cruz. And honestly, I don't think that he is too bad of a candidate. He's just like Beto O'Rourke. I mean, Beto O'Rourke was able to come so close in 2018 because of how likable he was, because of how young he was, and because of how hated Ted Cruz was. I mean, there was a stark difference in the way people liked Beto O'Rourke and Ted Cruz. The vast majority of voters just liked O'Rourke as a person more than Ted Cruz. And I think that Colin Alred, if you hear him speak, if you hear him talk with voters, I think that he will be able to replicate that in a very similar way. I mean, he is a former NFL player, if I'm yeah, here he is. He was on the Tennessee Titans. This is him in 2008, right here. So, I mean, people know this guy. I mean, at least in Texas. Maybe he has some football fans, who knows. But today he is a U.S. representative, and he took office in 2019. He was elected in 2018 in that blue wave, and I think that he is the one to make it close. Even though he, like a lot of progressives, who are very politically involved and know their stuff, don't like him. I don't think when it comes to election day it even matters. But I mean, look, he's only 40 years old. Born in 1983 is insane. Just like O'Rourke versus Cruz, there will be a very stark difference between how viewers view Colin Alred and how they view Ted Cruz, regardless if they're Democrat or Republican. But we'll get to that in a second, I guess. But I do want to get to the state of Texas right now, because obviously it has been trending so much to the left in recent years. As I said, I mean, Mitt Romney won it by 20 plus points in 2012. Trump in 2016 won it by 7 or 8. Cruz won his second term in 2018 by 3. Went to Trump by 5 in 2020. So this is obviously a state that has been narrowing and narrowing and narrowing each election cycle. And it's because of course, the influx of the population here. So many people are moving to Texas. It's much cheaper, along with immigrants. And of course, Hispanics are more likely, at least they were a couple years ago, but still they are definitely more likely to vote Democrat than Republican. And we have so many people, especially Latinos, moving to the state of Texas. The metro cities, the urban areas are growing at enormous rates. So that is the reason that Texas has been shifting so much to the left. But in 2020 and 2022, for the most part, we saw a lot of Latinos switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. A lot of them who have been here, who have established their lives here, who, have lived here for quite a while now, are turning on the Democratic Party for their immigration stance. They feel that they are too soft on immigration, those who have come here legally, at least. I mean, illegal immigrants can't even vote in the first place, so obviously those who have come here legally. But they are definitely turning away from Biden, especially when all the costs rose during the first years of his presidency, Biden, and they view Trump's presidency as much more successful, and they are tending to like Trump much more than Biden right now. I mean, in polls, I think that Kennedy was leading among he was like in second place, but even without Kennedy, it is just a few percentage points difference between Trump and Biden in 2024 among Hispanics. So while in 2020, I don't even know what the margin was, but I'm sure that it was a lot more than a few percentage points. So looking at 2024 now, even though the state is gaining so much population and it is trending left still overall, it might hold a little stagnant, because a lot of Latinos now are turning on President Biden. They don't want him for another 4 years, and that should definitely be a group that Biden has to target. But I know this is the Senate election still, but I'm just making the point that with Biden on the ballot, with Colin Alred, he will definitely, Colin Alred being a Democrat, Biden will definitely drag him down, especially in a state like Texas. Just looking at his approval rating, he's currently at just a 37% approval rating. That is abysmal. Now, looking at the 2024 Senate map, Texas matters so much. I mean, I have the states that were almost positive how they were going to go. Well, I didn't mean to include Texas in that because we want to test it how it goes. But right now I have Democrats keeping Michigan's seat, Tammy Baldwin winning re-election in Wisconsin. Ruben Gallego probably wins in Arizona. I think that Sherrod Brown does hang on in Ohio. And being totally honest, I think that John Tester loses in Montana. I think that Tim Sheehy wins against him. I mean, so Republicans only have a 50-seat majority without Texas. Now, if they win Texas, then they do have an outright majority. But if in the case Democrats win Texas, they have 50 seats. I mean, it is all over for Republicans. That's 50-50. Of course, it does depend on who wins the presidency. And right now, I think that Trump does beat Biden and Kennedy, so that Republicans have Senate majority. So it is extremely likely for Republicans to win Senate majority. I mean, you're seeing even in a situation where Democrats win Texas, Republicans still win majority if Trump wins the presidency. So the point I'm trying to make is Republicans should not bet huge in Texas, but it is still such an important state because if they are trying to defend Texas, a state that they should already have with an incumbent like Ted Cruz, if they are trying to defend Texas, making sure that it does not flip under any circumstances or really gets even that close, then they lose, or then Democrats have the opportunity to target Montana. I mean, that's the only one that isn't categorized right now that they could possibly win, along with all of the other competitive states that I currently have blue right now. And then you're back at a 50-50 situation, and it all depends on who wins the presidency and vice presidency. So, Ted Cruz needs to hold on, but Republicans shouldn't make it their number one priority because they're still in a very good position. Because Ted Cruz isn't likely to lose right now, and if they put too much of their attention in Texas, then they lose possibilities to flip states like Montana, Ohio, Arizona. While they should, focus on those states more than Texas, because most likely Ted Cruz will hang on. But polls are narrowing. It's definitely a possibility for Alred to win. So thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all later.